of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. We need an approval of the agenda. Is there anything that needs to be changed for emergency purposes? If not, I'm in order for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of Monday, February 13th, 2023 minutes.
I will make a
Yeah,
motion.
there was a new form minutes set up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. First item on the agenda is secondary roads, the construction update and the department update. Good morning, Zach. You can go and sit here for that.
Support.
How are you?
Good.
What do you got first today?
Just real quick update on kind of where things are at.
Yeah, ready to move there.
As far as construction on the G9 bridge, they are starting to dry pile this week. The bridge did get removed and moved out to Swan Lake. I believe it's last week, it was the week before, so they get that accomplished. Work went very well, and just continuing to work when the weather allows, so might not be real great weather conditions later in the week, the way it sounds, so.
What is their intention with that bridge?
Maybe eventually use it for trail bridge.
Potentially a trail bridge on the Sauk Rail Trail, but it'd have to fit the right situation, I guess, but that's I guess two reasons. One, keeping it intact since it is a historic bridge, and then secondly, maybe being able to utilize it.
Okay.
On the trail.
For now, it's just sitting there. Conservation.
Right.
Okay.
I
Right.
heard there was some interest in people that wanted to buy it.
Yes, there was.
But since it's historical, we can.
You know, so.
There's always interest.
That's always interest.
As far as department update, we are gonna be looking at getting some quotes on 1-inch roadstone or rock hauled into our yard. As we talked about in the previous, we did haul some last fall, before the price went up the first of the year. We will plan on hauling some ourselves as well this spring as well, but just to kind of get built up a little bit and preparing for the worst, I guess, in case we do need some. Getting a quote like we've done in the past, not as much. I think I'm looking like probably 5,000 ton this year. And I'm sure those prices will be higher than what they have been in the past too, with fuel and everything else, so. But that's one thing we're looking at. Also be getting some quotes on some CMP pipe, trying to get stocked back up on that. We're not sitting real bad, but definitely certain sizes we've used a lot of.
Is that stuff all went up in price too?
Absolutely.
Like everything else?
Yes, it has. It's leveled off a little bit from what I've been told. We'll see when we get quotes where it's really sitting, but from what it was 2 years ago, absolutely. Just like everything. So. And obviously, if it's for an entrance or if a field driveway, that cost gets passed on to the property owner when they ask for the install. But if it's a road pipe or our own, obviously that increased cost is going to us. So. Last thing I had on the list, we also have our contractor moving in to crush concrete down at the depot. They'll be starting on that this week, weather depending as well. Trying to get that pile gone here in the winter. So we're ready for spring again.
I think it just seems like we just crushed that.
We did.
Like late fall here?
Well, we did last winter, the main pile, but the city had some that they crushed or that they were wanting to get rid of that they didn't want. And we crushed that and bought that just at the cost of, for crushing. from the city. So that's what was done this fall or, yeah, late summer, early fall. So we have a good jag of crushed concrete, because we also crushed Arcadia this past year. And we had a little bit down in Coon Rapids from that patching job that we crushed as well.
Thinking about is when we crushed over in Arcadia.
No, I remember driving by that.
Oh, really?
That they crushed, I thought, God, we just.
So
I
it's.
mean, we get, so that's pile builds fast.
It does, and we'll, this spring, we hate to put it out there this time of year, but this spring, we have multiple places that we can use that to build up some roads and try to get some crown back in.
Just curious, out of your budget, is there a spot you could save the county $1.2 million?
No,
It's better than you know.
10 million.
short, I guess that's an easy answer. What's a short answer? That kind of worse.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Zach?
What's the status on your garage doors?
So working on, still getting quotes and getting approval through insurance on those. But hopefully that will be moving forward today. We had to get a second quote just to get comparables and whatnot. So we're trying to,
Time frame?
anywhere from a week to 5 weeks, depending on who and how it
Wow.
works out. So
I'm shocked it's actually that quick.
better than what it could be, I guess, is what I'll
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, I thought it'd be,
For a
the
while.
way garage doors, and I thought it'd be a lot later.
I think things are loosening up a little bit on those. There must be a little bit more availability from what I understand, but that's where we're sitting right now.
On the quotes for the 1-inch road, so how do you do that? Do you open up to the people that did it for you in the past? or how do you
Yep,
do it?
there's a list of like 5 or 6 haulers that have
Yep.
expressed interest. And I send out information to them on the 2 approved sources and basically have them
Yeah.
give me quotes for, it's a delivered product, so it's buying the rock and delivering it to our Carroll yard, so.
Okay.
It's been relatively competitive. I think the last 3 years that I've been here, we've had three different vendors, so. It just kind of depends on the situation and what people have, how busy they are and what have you, so.
Perfect.
All right,
That's all I got.
thank you.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
All right, next item is to approve the plat for Rodney Halber.
And just flatten off the acreage. I will make a motion to approve the plat.
I will second. There's been a motion in a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Third item is to review / consider accept offer to buy real estate for the Breda Depot. Good morning, ladies. Thanks for your patience. We'll say we did receive a couple, I did receive one email and then we received a physical letter of people advocating for your guys' purchase, so.
I have many calls and all the people don't be brought. And I apologize, this took this long, but it did, and my understanding it's been blessed off now, so. Unless someone has any questions, I'll make a motion that we approve
You know what? I will second that.
it.
And just for some clarification. I was looking through this real quick and I couldn't find it.
That's a.
First right of refusal is back to the county, correct?
Yes.
All right, it's been a mo,
Do we have to vote on that or no?
Was that in there?
I'm looking for it, but it's,
Is, I know it's in there. I
Okay.
made sure.
Okay.
I don't know if it's towards.
Well, you know,
I was looking for it real quick, but
I know, I don't have it in front of me, but I know, I made sure that that was in there. And if it's not, I mean, that's. I'll call, right after, and we'll put that up again. It should be in.
I looked too last night. I
Glad she brought it up.
I thought I saw that. I'm talking about what we get first. I don't see it.
I'm looking through. I'm looking at my phone and stuff.
I don't see it in there.
Is 13B just for? If you don't pay them that, see that? No, that doesn't matter. No, that doesn't matter. Never mind. That's backwards.
In there.
Okay, so,
Let's just put this way, I'm gonna amend my motion that we approve it, subject to that statement put back in.
okay, so is this gonna delay things again, or?
No,
if I
I'm,
can get it
as long as you get it
I'll
put
get
back
You can
in.
get us a copy.
And I
to
will,
Courtney.
I'll amend my motion to approve it, subject to
Okay,
that you, that a first right of refusals in it.
yes,
You agree with
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
So the amended
So,
motion.
The amended motion, as long as you put in there that we have first right,
yep.
I will second that.
All right, so there's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Congratulations upon
Thank you,
the,
yes,
and then I will come in and sign once you get the new contract from,
okay,
just call them and have them add it.
okay, I
And
will,
then, okay.
I will, okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Today is the birthday, so we were.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Welcome to a big project.
Yes.
All 39, right?
Yeah, whole 39, you're 39 today.
Yep.
Like
39, 79.
Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
guys.
All right, item 4, to review, consider quote to replace courthouse intercom station. I don't know if anybody's coming up for that. Do you know?
I would like them to come up. I have a lot of questions on it.
Okay. Jason. Fix them, please. Just I'll go down and see these are available.
Well, the hay brain, like, how do they do that? Do that property? Bring it to the auction.
Bring it there.
Yeah,
Um,
it's kind of weird. I never know how to buy property from the town.
Well, you have, that's why you gotta go through this process.
Yeah.
We have to have
But
public hearings, and
usually-
the county attorney has to be involved.
Yeah, but we've had so much problem with
So
Don getting less along.
if my calendar serves me correctly, which it will, today is actually would be Mike's turn. And then next week's is Scott's,
Well, didn't you and I switch because you were on last week?
but I did it on the sixth. You did it last week,
And, okay,
so Mike's today,
yeah, yeah. We did switch
Yeah.
there, yeah.
and then it will be Scott. And then we'll have Cindy start in. Right here.
I'm this week, right?
Yeah,
And next.
no,
Oh, you're gonna redo it?
Scott's next week.
How'd you have it before
What am I
that?
doing?
Just wait.
Mike is today and.
He's next door, but he's coming over.
Okay,
So I'm today.
and then Scott would be next week. He'll be back.
And then
We're gonna start with Cindy into the rotation. So then it would go Cindy,
March
Jean.
13th.
March 13th.
no,
No.
you're the sixth.
Sixth.
Then we go
Oh, the next week's.
So then goes
Yeah,
me
never
again?
mind. Yeah.
Came on fast.
Jean,
God, I had somebody in church thank me for my art
Staff,
yesterday, this week. So
So
they
that is
just.
the 20th.
yep,
You keep
and then you'll
track.
be, you're not up again until the 27th. Having the fifth person in helps. And then we go Scott,
For that, do you?
and then you actually won't do it again until May.
Thank you.
So have you read any of them? Okay, so the newspaper radio.
Oh, like the one you did? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So every week we switch it off. So you'll do it now that we have 5 members, you'll do it. Depending on how many weeks are in a month, but so you'll call up to the radio or you can go out there. They'll record you. And then you also do a newspaper article. If you want, Mike, can you just copy her on your newspaper that you do for this week?
Yep.
Basically, what you do is you go over the agenda,
Mhm.
significant items. A little bit more detailed than just what's in this.
So it's on a Monday, so it would be from the meeting that I go to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have to have it done relatively quick. Yeah,
It might not get in this week.
it might.
He'll probably get Fridays, Tuesday now.
Our newspaper only goes out to this week, which can put a little damper into it, but
You might have trouble. But if you get down, I would say, yeah. Mid-afternoon, you'll probably get it. You'll probably get it from the this week. But I think typically when we started this, the paper was one that say like
morning,
500,
Jason.
like 500 words or less, or in that neighborhood, around 500 words.
Yeah.
So you use that as a guideline.
Sorry about
You
that.
have to Wake up from that.
No.
Okay.
It's 5 o'clock this morning.
All right, so we have a quote in front of us, Jason, from Feld Security for $7,216. For the replacement to the courthouse intercom station. Can you explain to the board what this is?
Sure, so. Currently, there's an intercom station that's located at the Youth Park. Used to be 2 of them, one got one to the jail and one to the town center. And with the construction project going on. The likelihood of that east door being closed to public traffic. There'll be no way for the public who may not have a cell phone to come through the police department or courthouse to someone's police officer to be able to do so after hours. So currently, you go over to the police department, after hours, the doors are locked. It says go to the store of the courthouse to summon an officer. That happens from time to time. Could, from somebody, whatever the case may be, late at night, whatever. Coming to the police department looking for help and not being able to get in there to find it from one of these stores. So there's a need to to figure out a new intercom station. And the idea was to do it at the south door. It would be a more direct path across the courtyard from the police department anyway. Years and years ago, I remember when that was the place where you went to summons an officer if you needed to. And somewhere along the way, it got changed to the store for whatever reason. So we sought some information from Felds about a system that would grow with us in the future. Right now, we rely on the courthouse camera system separate from the intercom to provide any sort of video feed of that person at that door. Sometimes they may be requested to get entry into the courthouse. We can buzz the store. As turns out, we buzz the software too if they have to. So it could be a delivery person, somebody with probation who's going to meet with somebody coming in thief shedding, countless things that they summon us there for. But you know, it's kind of an overhead view, kind of public camera system. And so this quote provides for a couple of things. One, provides an intercom station. It integrates a camera into that intercom station that's more base level. To give a better view of, to be able to identify the person who's trying to gain access if they're asking to be buzzed in. And it provides for the ability to have multiple stations. And any other option was going to be just one station. And what we find is that if we have just the one station, it can only be at one of the dispatch console positions. And if that position isn't being manned, the dispatcher has to get up in the other position and kind of, you know, feed over to the position one, answer the intercom. The phone starts ringing, they got to go back to the other position. That can be problematic. Or if the dispatcher at position one is answering an one call or something like that, and somebody buzzes, but the position two person isn't completing tasks right then. You know, they either have to kind of reach over the other dispatcher to try to answer it, or that person waits until that the dispatcher position one is available to answer the call. So the idea was to ask Phil for a quote for something that would give us a little bit, have more positions available. This quote for this system is something that's expandable. We can have multiple additional stations other than just the two, if that ever becomes something that we want to do, or down the line we add additional dispatch positions, put another station in. So that's why we got this quote, reviewed it with Zach and talked about a little bit about this one.
Why is the 1632 quote crossed off?
Because it's not an option anymore because the wire was cut, is my understanding.
Okay, so the other one is a wired, connection. This option is wireless. I believe, which consultant's preference, the ability to run wires outside of the south door is a little bit challenging. You got the sandstone,
marbles,
you got the sandstone and marble and that sort of thing. Whereas you think the wireless option might be a little bit more
And then
intrusive.
if someone comes to that door, who's supposed to, is there someone? If someone comes there, that's made for someone in need, right? Do you guys take care of that, or does the sheriff have to come? But like, my question is, why wouldn't it be at the sheriff's door, or you know what I mean? I'm just.
Sure, there is a intercom at the sheriff's door. They would. If the jailer gets somebody that needs a deputy, then they're going to let us know about that. And then we would send a deputy there. This is primarily probably takes place when the police department has somebody that tries to do walk-in traffic to their office after.
I see.
The other thing would be is because we have the ability to buzz that door, should we have, you know, a person who's being pursued by another individual, come to that door looking for help and need, some sort of, refuge from somebody chasing after them, we can actually buzz that door, let them come into the courthouse, door shuts behind them, and now they're locked inside. Somewhat protected.
By that system.
Well, we have, when we installed the new radio consoles, we tied in those radio consoles into the door access system. So that we can buzz a door if need be. We don't do it as a matter of practice, because somebody forgot their key or something like that, but from time to time, we have somebody that accesses the courthouse.
So you can do that, you can do that now already.
That, we can do that now. That's separate from the system necessarily as part of the door access system. We're tied into it.
I think it's smart, but I think that $7,200 is a lot of money. I mean. I know it's way over my head, but my Ring doorbell is like $65, you know what I mean? So that's why you look at it, you're like,
Well,
Like-
and would there be a way for them, like, to have a sign there that said, in an emergency, or if you need an officer, call this number?
it's
Sure,
And then-
sure
They
could.
don't have a phone.
If they don't have a phone, they're
Yeah.
probably not calling 911 already because they don't have.
So I don't know, like,
Shouldn't assume that
I'm
they
thinking
have a
about it, I think it's a good idea, but I feel like it's redundant, because I'm putting myself in those shoes, like. Let's say hypothetically, I lose my phone, I'm in a scenario, I need help. In my personal opinion, I'm not coming to the courthouse, I'm going straight over there, or to the city police department.
Sure, and they do. I mean, the thing is that there's a sign on the police department that says, if you need to summons an officer, need help after hours, go to the east door of the courthouse. That sign will be changed to say, go across the courtyard to the south door of the courthouse. I would say that we have a number of people that know that they can summons an officer by going to that area, and requesting it. There's some apartment buildings in the downtown area.
Is there could you come up with a number, like how often is it utilized by, like a 5-year backlog of, it was used twice in 2022?
I would not be able to pull accurate statistics based on, like, I have no way to search
Yeah.
for databases for what calls would have been started in that way. So I couldn't come up with an accurate number. I
Okay.
would say it's happening at a minimum, and probably several times.
Really?
Hmm.
Did you have somebody come to the door
I would think so, yeah.
for help?
Well, I mean, it's, may not be, it's probably not a being actively assailed. I mean, it's, they're coming there to request assistance from the police department in some way, shape, or form. Some,
That's a lot more than I thought.
other,
And I'm not saying it's not bad, it's just $7,200 is a lot of money.
And we're actually being
And-
asked right now to cut our budget by 1.2 million.
But so what I ask you is, and I'm not in your, I know nothing about IT or any of that stuff. Does that seem crazy to you, or does that seem in line, or?
it seems a little high.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, you know?
That-
But you're talking wireless, and I can see the purpose of that wireless on that outside there, because that's
Yeah.
going. That'd be hard to get.
Can we get a quote from someone else, or is it the only person there?
I wasn't the one that sought the quote.
Yeah,
didn't
I
ask for
didn't-
the quote,
no, I know.
so-
We're just
yes,
trying to
I'm
learn,
sure-
you know what I mean?
No, I understand. I'm sure we could get a quote from somewhere
You
else.
can, but it's gonna be from each other off. This is probably, they're probably the only ones who's gonna do it real quick.
I would say that
Keep
Feld is the
honest.
only one locally that's gonna be doing this sort of work. We would be looking at somebody from one of the metro areas. If you want to get a different quote.
Typically,
I-
it's just
I also-
one.
Yeah, I also had the same thought about, if you get a ring doorbell or blink doorbell or anything like that. All of those are gonna be
Well,
consumer grade, not commercial grade equipment, so, whatever that means or whether.
Didn't
whether that
Dalton,
matters
Dalton
to us
get
or
this bid?
not. I think Zach initiated the conversation.
Or Zach
with,
did? But Dalton's kind of looked at this, right?
Dalton's.
He's been part of the conversation.
And I would think, and I know Dalton does do some off-site work with outdoor cameras and that kind of stuff, so I would think he'd have a pretty good idea to say legit or not.
Yeah, we identified a problem and have identified a solution. It may not be the best solution.
Yeah.
You know,
I didn't realize.
or they prefer us to continue to look at other solutions, we've been revisiting. That's a course of action. You know, my concern is just, I want to make sure that, we have something that's, you know, reliable, doesn't give the end user dispatchers fits from trying to use it. And I'd like to make sure that it's available at multiple locations so that we don't have to tie that with one dispatch position.
Okay.
With those words.
So you can get them on multiple screens and whatever.
Yeah, something that we can have a multiple or somewhere else or something, that was kind of.
And you telling us that it's used weekly makes it better, but I do think that the money is outrageous.
The other thing is I would imagine. I don't know this for sure because I don't know what the back end of this product looks like, but it is probably self-contained. It works by itself. In other words, your Ring doorbell, all those other sort of kind of solutions require internet connectivity to it.
I see what you're saying.
So there, you know, there would be a concern, you know, in some sort of you know, outage sort of situation, then that functionality goes down or, you know, whatever.
Where this would be adding to
I
the
think this,
generator.
and again, I don't know the specifics, but I think this is more of a point-to-point wireless that doesn't rely on external servers or anything like that that's outside of the building. So as long as the building is powered and the equipment was powered, I think this would work.
Okay.
But, you know, anything else beyond that, you know, if you run into internet connectivity issues or something, those other consumer grade type solutions are gonna run into connectivity issues, but those would also probably be true in that. Well, maybe Dalton would be the better expert to speak about that.
He's on top of all money.
Yeah, I think you need to move it to next week's agenda and talk to Dawn about it.
No problem. We can do that.
Well, or we can, we'll do something else and come back and have it come up and get. If he's available today.
February 6th, that quote's good till March 6th, so you got a couple of weeks.
He's busy kind of right now, I think, over helping
Oh,
with the jail
okay.
cameras. Unless you're listening, Dalton. Okay. Let's go ahead and table that. Unless you guys are ready to make a decision.
I'm not.
Thanks, Jason, for.
Well,
Maybe you three are. I don't know. Thank you, Jason.
I don't think it's urgent until they close that and store down completely to public traffic.
Okay.
I think that's when it becomes urgent, so I think there's time.
Okay, thank you.
Jason.
Well, that'll be coming up shortly.
All right, item number 5, approve CDBG draw number 8 down payment assistance program for $2,244.
Hmm,
I will go ahead and make a motion to approve the draw.
good copy. I'm gonna down one. Oh, yeah.
You want the full one?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. I looked at that. No, you're good. I
Oh.
looked at it. Thank you.
This is gonna be a program that's gonna eventually, once we run out of money, it's gonna be gone.
It's unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. And I think we stated that many times up here.
I think every time we pull a draw, we say the same thing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So a lot of people used it. Nice thing is it's not costing the county a dime, you know. It's
Pass through money and it has brought people here,
And a lot of people to buy homes that probably wouldn't have been able to.
give some ownership value. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I will make, well, you made a motion, I will second it.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Right there in blue.
You're the best. We could just have it. Right here?
Yeah.
You better. Internet's a little slow. My internet.
It says the internet's slow, but it's slow, but I bet you have a. Upgrade you have to do.
No, we just did it.
Oh, okay.
I just went through mine. I didn't.
All right, item
why I print
number 6 is to approve the tax suspension request. We have one on this list. Please keep the name confidential.
Just for future reference. When you suspend them, it just means that they're still owed, it's just, they're not responsible for paying for it until the property is sold. And people that are eligible for this are usually in that financial place.
And they have to apply for this every year, correct?
They have to be eligible every year for
Every year.
DHS, so this will take care of taxes that are gonna be coming due here in March, in the amount of about $220. And then would also be eligible next year if they choose to.
I didn't talk to him about.
Yeah, I told him this would take care of the stuff due next month and then also what we'll be billing out this summer. But if he wanted to continue, we would need documentation again. The next year was proving we're still eligible. I did contact the city, let him know what address we were looking at to do this, because I know we had an incident in Coon that we suspended them and maybe should have been handled differently, but no issues with this property. They're current on utilities and the city has no issues.
Bad people.
So, anyway. And as of right now, this is the only one we're probably gonna have, which we used to have several, but this is it, so.
Yeah, there's always been about 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
But again, these are confidential and, you know.
Yep.
So it's just a matter of whether you get the tax later.
And to clarify too, Cindy, if that property is ever sold, the person purchasing that property would have to pay the back taxes.
Well, or they take it on sale.
Or yeah, or they take it out of the.
I will make the motion to approve the tax suspension.
I'll second. There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item number 7, set public hearing for fiscal year 23 budget amendment. Courtney gave us for traditional spreadsheet and she'll talk a little bit about what we've got going on here.
So this would be our second amendment for fiscal 2020. In the past, I went through each item individually. Might take some time, we have quite a few, but I'm willing to do it if you guys want to hear it, or you want me to hit the,
I'd
maybe
skim
offer some
over it,
explanation on
Yeah.
the bigger ones and just kind of go through.
especially
So-
since this is Cindy's first budget amendment, so
Okay.
it kind of gives you some clarification.
All right, so I'm gonna use this sheet here, which actually breaks it down by fund, which for our purposes makes more sense than the other one. So we'll start with our general basic fund. The first thing is the comm center, and you can see that we have $1,000 in expense, and then if you look at the revenue, there's $1,000 ICAP grant. We get those every year if we apply, so we're just offsetting the expense with the revenue, so that's a zero effect on the budget. If you move down. That's
Okay, yeah, that's the right.
So if you move down a little bit, you'll see ambulance education and training. That amount's being offset by some miscellaneous revenue they receive. So the net result on the budget is zero. The next one is probably the biggest pain that I saw was the ambulance insurance. So for some reason in our fiscal 23 budget, there was no health insurance budgeted in their department. No fault of the director, he supplied a number, it just never got put in the overall budget. So while it's a lot of money, it would have been levied for, we're gonna have to pull it from reserves. That's why we have reserves, is to cover incidental things like that, but that's why that is. And then just wanted to clarify that the director is not at fault in that situation. Moving down, we had a hazard mitigation expense that wasn't budgeted for, it's $5,000. Juvenile legal in court, that's just. We pay for juveniles and we've had a lot and we're almost over budget, so we need additional funds to get us.
We're
through
gonna
the
wanna
end of the year.
discuss that too.
Yeah, then, obviously we pay for detention centers as well. That is, that line is okay, it's just the legal part of it that we're struggling with. We paid significant dollars to attorneys and stuff for juveniles.
So if you ever have, well, he sits on the yes center. If we have a juvenile from Carroll County that goes there, there's a cost that's associated with that. Is it $250 a day?
That's something, there's 100,
And the
it's not
county,
that for us, because we don't remember,
but the county pays for it.
but we're fortunate.
You have like,
But you're saying it's legal, it's the legal part.
It's attorney fees and things like that, and I can show you a breakdown if you want to see where all the monies went, but
Yeah.
it's significant.
I'll see it after.
It's significant.
Can you ask about the mitigation as well?
That's a deal we have with Region 12 to do our hazard mitigation plan. We pay them small increments to keep our plan up to date and current. And we have the hazard mitigation plan. It is
A huge binder.
And they're in the process of updating it. So we've been paying just a little bit every year to cover the cost of
Wasn't
that.
it 20-some thousand dollars?
Yeah, so that's our portion for fiscal 23. And I made sure to include that in 24, so we won't see that again. I just didn't realize that it was gonna be coming out in 23. All right, so that's 3 items for conservation: salary, FICA and IFRS. That was a board approved hire for their naturalist. That's the additional money he needed to
Did you-
cover that salary for the end of the year.
Wait,
Okay. Then moving down, conservation had several items. I am gonna pull his email and read you what that stuff is, because we're talking quite a bit of money. Sorry, it's gonna take me a minute to find it here. Jason? Oh, sorry. So I'm just gonna read the email he sent to me explaining the expenses. So the gas and diesel, that's going up 10,000. He's calling that high fuel prices. Building maintenance and repairs, 9,500. Cameras and network equipment needed for IT was planned for last fiscal year, but delays in equipment and install pushed the expense. This adjustment is for the cameras and the network equipment. Parks maintenance and repair, $8,000. Repairs budgeted for replacement of 1 septic system turned into needing to replace 3 systems as they were all tied to the same filter field, which doesn't meet code anymore. This increase is to finish up that project in the spring because part of the campground and campground dump station are on these systems. Our staff is doing the work. This is necessary materials, tanks, filters, field, etc. Be very detailed. Hardware and supplies, 6,000. Increased cost of chemicals and facility supplies, cleaning supplies, etc. Major equipment, 3,000. Actual bid price of a mini excavator was about 3,000 more than he budgeted for. So I'm just gonna read what he wrote at the end. So in general, inflation-related expenses for fuel, chemicals, facility supplies, combined with supply delays in getting products that pushed expenses into this fiscal year have led to a few tight line items. He's tried to keep the additional line item adjustment as reasonable as he can, but he really does think he needs those to make it through the end of the year. So, and obviously he said if there's questions, you can get a hold of him, but he did offer an explanation on that. So that kind of covers quite a few of those items there. All right, so Beyond conservation, we have the safety committee. There again, that's that $1,000 ICAP grant. So I'm just budgeting to spend that and offsetting it with the revenue.
What's CTH stand for?
Courthouse.
Okay. Silly.
The next line item is the courthouse. That's for LP gas and fuel. If you remember, we kind of estimated what we thought it'd be when we added the jail. But it's obviously more than we budgeted for, so we are short on our utilities. The courthouse itself is maintaining, I mean, obviously, it's a little more, everybody's fuel bills have been a little more, but it's the jail. Electric, same thing, it's just, we had no idea what our electric bills were gonna look like, and they're definitely significantly more than what we budgeted for. Water, kind of the same thing, not as bad, but the water usage is significantly higher. Overtime for the courthouse, which would be Zach.
Real quick though, I thought we discussed when we did that pay raise last year that we wouldn't do overtime.
He is, you cannot not pay him overtime because he's not an exempt employee. So anytime he works over 40 hours, we're required to pay overtime.
That's all. Excuse me, that's all Zach, that 5,000.
I'm not saying that'll all be spent, but we're pretty close.
Okay.
On that. And then below that, you'll see FICA numbers because of that. Then we're gonna move down to IT. These were items that Dalton brought to my attention. So if you have questions on detail of that, you'll want to talk to him. Data processing 500, telephone 600, data processing services 5,000, data processing maintenance 17,000, data processing equipment 6,000. So it's pretty significant dollars, but
Is that all from that company that he?
Yeah, that's, so the data processing services, the large one was that company increase that for our financial program, we had planned I think 15% increase and it was like closer to 30. So it was really significant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And that included, we have, several different programs with them. Every single one of their programs went up. It was universal.
What's the 17,000?
that one.
Same, oh, that's that one.
Yeah.
Then we're moving down to passport expense. That was a board approved purchase of printer, camera, paper, etc. Postage, obviously she didn't have any money in her line for postage, so put a little bit of money in there so she can mail passports out. Obviously that money will go into her pool in the postage machine, so there'll be some left over for next year. Salaries, that's the board approved, making that position full-time. That's the cost to get us through the rest of the year. The IEDA down payment assistance, that's one of those things we just handled a little bit ago with the draw. We added more programs to be able to offer it to more people. I think it went from, did it go from 7 to 10 or 7 to 12?
I thought it was 13.
13, I can't remember exactly, but here you'll see, I'm increasing the money that we can spend to cover that, because obviously with more projects, there'll be an increased price, but it's offset by the revenue we get from the state. So overall, it's a zero effect on our budget. Next items are big ones, but we all remember when we got our liability insurance from Terry, it went up significantly, not just for us, but across the state. So that's, almost more than $48,000 basically. The 5,000 for accounting and auditing, we need to do a GASB 8775. We have to have an audit that we do every 3 years on our employment, post-employment benefits. Since we offer insurance to retirees, there's a audit we have to do every 3 years. to basically just say how we administer it, how many people are on it, what it costs the
what our
taxpayer.
liability is.
Yeah, so that, they quoted me $5,000, which is actually what we spent 3 years ago, so it didn't go up, but I needed to include that. Okay, so that takes care of general basic, and you can see it's $387,773. Supplemental is just a little bit, and unfortunately, that's for me. I need $400 in supplemental to cover election officials and mileage, mainly because we've had so many elections, so I usually budget for maybe 1 or 2, and we've had one in Coon Rapids in January. I had one in the county in February, and I have 2 in March. Specials for schools, Glidden and Manning. And then obviously, hopefully that'll be it for this year. But just kind of running low on funds just for that. So I kind of estimated what I'll spend here in March and came up with $400 that I need. There's just nowhere else to pull it from because there's very few line items in supplemental. There's not any more extra. So the next one is, when I was going through the overall county budget, I noticed that the rural sheriff's overtime was over. And I got a hold of the sheriff and told him, he goes, well, yeah, I'll need more money for overtime and holiday. I said, well, give me a number, and that's the number he gave.
So why is his overtime over so much? Do you give a reason?
No, not necessarily. I know they had a deputy that was out, on leave,
Yeah.
so that's gonna obviously
Yep, that's.
mess with numbers, and
Yep.
obviously you want a more detailed explanation, I'm sure he.
No, I forgot about that.
I asked him for a number, that's the number he gave me, so. And obviously the FICA and IFRS go along with that. The next item was the board approved contribution to the Manning Trail project. Upon getting their funding, and they did. I was notified of that quite a while ago, so. We didn't have it in the 23 budget, so put it in there. It's coming out of local option for your guys' request. So got that in there, and then you can see overall, it's $426,455, so pretty significant dollars.
When would you like to set the public hearing?
I'd like to set it for March 13th at 9:30.
What's in the excess, do you know?
I can look the second.
Alright.
What'd you ask me?
What's in the excess?
What's one?
In the excess?
Like, how much do we have in our
Yeah,
checking account?
yeah.
Layman's terms.
Would she say 9:00, 9:30? Or 10?
I'm gonna guess.
Sally.
I went in there, I was still talking on Emily's computer, but. I was working in there.
Delayed.
All right, so, this is through the end of January, because obviously we're still in February, so our total balance in this fund was 1.8 million. To know what is not budgeted and what's reserved is kind of hard at this point,
Yeah.
but obviously this amount will come off of that.
Yeah,
Because it's above and beyond. I think we budgeted to have about $700,000 left in the general fund if everybody spent every dime they requested, and we collected every dollar. So if you take that off here, I get 300,000.
300.
Not
roughly.
ideal, but. And then obviously the supplemental is kind of incidental because it's only 400. Rural. That's pretty small amount for that fund, and then local option, but the general fund, obviously, that's a big chunk.
Big chunk of it, yeah.
But we'd still have reserves, but just obviously. not as much.
Go ahead.
Oh, fine.
So what time did you say? 10:00?
9:30.
9:30
March. I
for
will
this,
not be here
for this one,
for the amendment, yes.
March 13th.
Yeah.
Good for you.
At 9:30. In here, right?
Yeah, and I'm pushing it off a little bit because it's Tuesday. And I don't know if I'll get it in when I need to, so.
All right.
I need
Do you need a motion?
Yeah, I need a motion to set that date.
One thing I gotta say, Jason always does a good explanation of his stuff.
Always.
Yeah, he left it
Oh.
very, he was very
And the other thing
specific.
that's surprising, Zach Anderson didn't have any in there.
I will say that in the times I do amendments, it's very rare that I have a road statement.
Thank you.
Zach. I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for fiscal year 23 budget amendment, March 13th at 9:30 a.m.
Here's a motion in a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Well, John's out there.
It's so loud.
The gas is out
Oh.
there. Talks about-
So the next item on the agenda is committee assignments. Really, this is gonna be kind of a conversation that's like geared towards Cindy. So we all have committee appointments. We have these meetings that we attend typically monthly or quarterly, depending on which board it is. I think between Jean and I, we can probably answer how often these meet. The Region 12 Council of Governments, that's quarterly. Region 5 Hazmat,
I believe that's quarterly too.
is it?
I'm just kind of thinking how often Dean reported on that.
Is it quarterly or bi-monthly? I thought it was more quarterly. I might be wrong.
Might be bi-monthly. I don't think it's monthly.
No, I don't think neither is.
So you're talking every 2 months?
Yeah. So then the next one, the Iowa Workforce Development, that one actually is going to be going away. But they're still gonna meet. So the state's taking over they're taking this over, they're doing it. So we don't really have much say in that anymore, but in May, I think there'll be a meeting and you do it via Zoom. The Safety Committee, I think I answered your question on that, didn't I, Cindy? Okay.
I don't remember that. How often did they meet?
Well,
Done. Okay.
You're supposed to try to meet every quarter, but I don't know that they've met for a while. I think it kind of got bad with COVID, when they weren't meeting and then, but the sheriff heads it up and then, you skip the daycare. How often do they meet?
They do meet monthly.
Monthly.
Yep, and it's always on a Monday night. Oh, we did skip the daycare, I'm sorry. Now, all these alternates, so it's the second judicial, middle, north, east. On a rare occasion that another supervisor couldn't attend, they may have you fill in, but if it's going to be a meeting that isn't of substance, they may not have anybody go, so. In Partnerships for Families, I handed you that card. That is one that we have somebody sit on. We rotate, right, with the counties,
Mhm.
and it just so happens to be our turn to sit on that. And I don't know, is that a year term, or how do they do that?
I don't remember.
I think it's a 3-year deal.
Is it 3 years? Okay. Jean, I think most of yours stayed the same, except for you are taking on Rolling Hills. So thank you for doing that,
Are you going through just like what's changed on here? Yeah.
very much.
Yeah.
Scott's did not change. Oh, you also went to executive board. Right?
Well, that's something that they're gonna try to. get
Up in the
done,
air.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on it anyway, but
Okay. And then Mike, your Region 5 hazmat did get moved. Do you know, do they meet monthly, bi-monthly?
Never heard from him yet. I don't know.
Okay.
If I need to get in touch with somebody, let me know.
The rest of yours stayed the same except for the Region 5 hazmat, and mine stayed the same. Took on an extra one and then gave away daycare.
I know that Dean, when he reported on it, he always talked about, there's a Scott Jacobs from Calhoun County, who's a supervisor. I know he's on the Region 5 board, so
Mhm.
maybe somebody could reach out to.
Scott Jacobs.
Scott,
yeah, and he just lives just south of Auburn. He's right on the county line. You go
oh, do
71.
ya?
Huh?
Okay, he has a number for him if you
Yeah.
need it.
Is there any questions that anybody has as far as the committee appointments?
I will say that I had a conversation on Friday up at Cherokee. I think it's the North Raccoon Watershed Governance thing.
Yep.
They are trying to separate from down there. And remember, we got that letter here a while back and we're gonna push it. They took my number and I gave your number that you're on
Okay,
that board, so you may be getting a call from someone up there.
okay,
But their feeling is we need to separate ourselves from Des Moines because they think there's gonna be a big expense coming and we're gonna be stuck with that, even if we leave. And you were part of that conversation, huh? That drainage engineer, that Don Etler? And you were kind of saying,
Pushing. I don't know what's gonna happen.
but their thought is that there's gonna be a,
So they're wanting to do work down near Des Moines, but offset some of the costs of the people that flow into that space.
well, I think there's gonna be a big expense created, then we get more up here on our own.
Okay.
We won't be stuck with that liability, once we're getting that. So I'm just, being now we're brought it up, I thought I'd let you know. that.
okay, thank you.
And I do get the east-west Nishnabotna. I get those agendas sent to me. I haven't gotten anything in a while, but I can make sure to forward them to you.
I do know for a while they were struggling for them,
Yeah.
because they were kind of pulling all of them, plus my few that I sit on.
I would say anytime you're on one of these boards, if they ask you, they're gonna be there, let them know, so they know, because it does become an issue with them.
All right, if there's no other questions.
Just random emails, and say we have a meeting now, are you gonna be there? Usually put the big, kind of a group, you know?
I don't think we need a motion on that. Everybody's good? All right. We need to set a public hearing for the first reading amended county ordinance 27, which is in reference to reg drive.
I apologize. We did this last week and said, oh, we had the first reading live, did some research, and you need to have a hearing, set a public hearing to do it. So let's do it right. And just go ahead and I'm proposing like May 6th, which would be next week at 9:30.
March.
March sixth,
Did I say May?
Yep.
Or we're still thinking March,
Okay.
Next week's the 27th.
2 weeks.
2 weeks then.
Yeah, March 6th
at what time?
at 9:30. And then we'll basically just redo what we did last week. I did find that you can do the first reading, you can actually waive the second and the third, so we could choose to do, or you guys could choose to do that if you want, so. Just wanted to make sure we handled it correctly.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to start the public hearing for March 6th at 9:30 a.m. to amend county ordinance number 27.
Second on that?
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is manure management annual updates. The one we have is from PI 235 finisher, section 5, Woodland Township, added acres. And we are to committee for committee reports, and I can go first because mine is really light. I was gone last week. But I did do some free budgets, and then I also sat in via Zoom to the Iowa workforce, the one that you'll be going on board, and that's how I know there's gonna be a follow-up meeting in May, but everyone's hands are kind of up in the air. You know, you guys, we decided to this kind of basically dissolves ourselves for that 2080. And then I had I had all my pre-budgets done right before we left. This week, obviously, we had meetings this morning, and I am gonna try and go to the legislative forum Saturday morning. At St. Anthony's, I think it's at 10. I got some basketball tournaments I'm gonna go to too, but. Try to make it there, because I
Right, that is this week.
got some questions.
I'm better off staying away.
We won't send you.
You done?
Yep.
I had a pretty slow week last week. Obviously the meeting with Baines this morning. Tomorrow at noon, I have Board of Health meeting and that is, and I have radio and newspaper this week and that's it.
Cindy?
So I went to DCAT last week. Doesn't sound like I have much this,
That's okay.
okay. It did sound like maybe there was some funding issues with the DCAT. So,
Okay. Last week I did a radio newspaper and fielded several phone calls on a lot of different topics. And then Friday I had the Yes Center board meeting. And of course, it's never dull meeting up there, but they had 9 kids in there on Friday. They did hire some new transporters, transportation is again. Really quite something up there. Then they also reported that they had to go through, they had a kid they hadn't used restraint on again. So they had to go through that whole process. Currently, there's 14 members up there with 15 beds. And right now we have 2 additional counties are thinking about joining us. They would,
That's wise.
huh?
Do you think that's wise? I get it, but they don't have the space.
Well, that's just it. We probably knock out BIA, but these people are bringing some kids over now because they're not getting along with Iowa Central. And these are clear across the state. It's Clinton County and Muscatine, and they do not necessarily want to be a voting member. So it's kind of near, we'll see what's going to happen out of that. But just tell you how busy it's been up there. Here's the accounts receivable. And guess what? We broke $204,000 this month. Carroll County, our bill was $4,755, and I will tell you, not naming any counties, I'll hand this around, you look at it afterwards. But there's the highest one of $35,021, and you know, the 21,800. So we're very fortunate. Good
Just
news-
so you know,
good-
this is a board I want to sit on, but he won't get it up. And he knows that. I've been telling him for 4 years.
She's the ultimate.
I did also forget that I said it on the daycare meeting last night, too.
I also
Um,
forgot to tell you, Courtney, I have a mini conference meeting Thursday for the assessor's office.
A mini conference?
It's, yep.
Okay.
Or just one with you, no? Okay, Tuesday, well then today I had this meeting with with the courthouse. This week I have, this afternoon I have Carroll County Growth Partnership Board meeting. And Tuesday I have, tonight I have Policy Council for Head Start. And then Wednesday I have New Opportunities Executive Board meeting at 11:30. And then Thursday, there's also a Highway 30 Coalition Zoom meeting. And then Thursday at 3:00 is New Opportunities Annual Meeting, and then Thursday at 4:00 is New Opportunities Board Meeting. So,
Get the shortest list on our committee appointments and have the most meetings.
yeah, somebody's double up. I mean, normally there's 3 of them here that are executive board meeting. I want to have one before we have the annual meeting, and then we have the annual meeting. So,
When I do newspaper radio, I just know. Being busy as heck again.
well, Gene goes and last night he sat there late too.
Courtney, what do you got for next week?
Let's see, 27th, Bill Day. The asbestos contract. Ambulance golf carts.
And can you also set up for the 28th? We are going to do, did everybody agree to that at 1:00 until? Who knows, a budget workshop, we're gonna start hammering through.
We need to get really calm around this thing. I think for Courtney's benefit, we can't be.
So what's
dragging
gonna
it
happen
out.
is we'll come here at 1. Each individual department is gonna come explain their projected budget. We've met with all of them prior, so we kind of have an idea. But now they come before public setting and explain why they need increase, decrease, whatever. Within their budget for fiscal year 24. And then she'll compute it all into. Her. Is it an Excel spreadsheet? I don't know what you call it, state program.
I have a couple different places I put it.
She has
Yeah.
lots of places she does things, and then. We see what our tax asking will have to be to cover our budget.
So how long do you want to give a department? Because I'm thinking it might be easier just to send out a sheet and say, you're coming here, you're coming here, and then if somebody can't make that time, we can.
Well, Zach's is a big one. Is an hour justified?
Yeah, I mean, there's how much detail you want to go into, I mean, how.
But like Ashton's is a half hour at max.
So we're probably gonna need to do several of these, because
No, we're talking about maybe going in a little bit into the evening.
Yeah, I mean, it's 6:30 that night.
Yeah, you're right, though. We probably still have to do.
You got another meeting at 6:30 at night, and I would not be opposed to having an evening meeting for that.
I wouldn't either, but, and obviously, like, it doesn't matter for me if I work at night, but if you're asking some department heads to work at night, that's,
Why don't you go,
you know,
why
and
don't
then,
you split it? That
Well, I would
next
say
day.
elected officials, I don't feel really concerned about.
no,
But
but
department heads, we can make sure we get them done between 1 and
Yeah.
5. So you have Dalton,
Zach,
Zach, well, Courtney does Zach's.
oh, yeah, he's part of the courthouse.
Yeah.
But Dalton shouldn't take too long. Some lot of these.
Some of these are like
Dalton's be 15 minutes, right?
Well, and VA, that's not.
15 minutes, Ashton's 15 minutes. There's some bigger ones like Zach's,
Let's say-
Lisa's, ambulance, sheriff. And Courtney, yours is even pretty quick. You don't,
I don't have a lot, I don't really have any, I don't have any extra for next year for asking. So is there another day we wanna put too?
we can.
Since we're sitting here, you and Scott can just be stuck with whatever we decide since he's not here.
Well, that's the problem when you go do that.
I mean, ideally, it'd be nice if we could get it done.
We need to get it
Next
done that week.
Oh, do it the next day. You're doing that the 27th, right?
That's the 28th.
Oh, I don't have no meetings in there. Or 28th, that's a Tuesday, yeah. What about Wednesday? Can you do it in the afternoon again?
Or
Um,
Or 28th all day? You have something in the morning?
I thought you did.
no, I think it's, this week is when I have, actually, next week I'm wide open.
We could even do next week after our board meeting and just start Monday, Tuesday deal.
I don't have anything Monday after board meeting. You wanna start at 1 there?
I just want to get them done.
Or Tuesday all day?
I
It's up
could
to
do
you.
that.
You can do Tuesday all day.
I can do Tuesday all day.
Yeah.
Can you do Tuesday all day?
Well, we gotta move some things around, but I can do that. No,
Just do, does Monday work better?
No,
No.
no, because I have 2 elections I'm getting ready for that week, so, but I'd rather do it earlier, because towards the end of the week. It's busier for me at the end.
The
Why
only
don't we
the
go
only thing-
ahead
the only
and
thing I got
adjourn
that,
our meeting?
Hold on.
the only thing I got going on that week right now is I've been invited on to a meeting on the 2nd at 6:30. But otherwise, I'm open to do it after
Same, are you
Monday.
going to that?
Huh?
Are you going to that?
Did you get one too? I was wondering if did anybody else get an invite, Farm Bureau?
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering because it was just, I thought that was strange.
When you were going.
Kind of hard to go when we don't have our budget.
Yeah, I think if we go, we're gonna have to say,
Don't know.
well, we can give them ideas what we're looking at.
Let's go ahead and make a motion to get out of this meeting.
Is that a motion? I'm gonna make a motion.
You make a motion.
All right. Make a motion to
Adjourn.
adjourn this Tuesday, February 21st, 2023 meeting.
Oh, officially, you saw.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?